Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie Ledwell, and this is The Inspiration Show. Today on the show, I have another very good friend of mine, and we're going to be talking about how it's possible for you to be able to heal anything when you understand what the mind-body connection is, mind-body, heart, and soul connection. So before I introduce my special guest today, I just want to remind you that once the show is over, don't forget to click the link below this video so you can download the ebook version of my best-selling book, Never in Your Wildest Dreams. So please help me introduce my very special guest, Nikki Jade. Hi, Nikki. How are you, darling?
Oh, beautiful. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you here. And we often will bump into each other at different events. So when we get together and can have a conversation like this, but then share it with our communities, I think is a great thing. So
Yeah, totally. We're so blessed with our circle of people that we get to hang out with and have these incredible conversations. So I totally agree. It's awesome to share it.
yeah, it's perfect. So why don't we start initially with you letting us know what your story is? Like, what's your story, and how did you get into this, this incredible world of helping people to be able to heal themselves?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Nat, I never would have thought this would have been my life when I was doing fashion design in New York City. And I'm sitting there and, I thought it was going to be so glamorous, but it really wasn't. And I was one of those people that was afraid to really go deep into all my emotions. I would just have happy hour, drink, dance the night away, and then do it all over the next day. And, looking back, it was really a form of running away from myself, Marianne Williamson says we're more afraid of our power than anything else. And I think that's what I was experiencing, was really just numbing myself in all different sorts of ways. And for me, it was more common to be in pain than to not be in pain. So if I ever had a day where I'm like, I feel amazing, what's wrong? And I would wait for like the next thing that's going to happen. And it's so wild that just talking about who that woman was to who I am today, it's like I know anyone can transform their lives, because all the numbing, our body talks us, I teach in 3 different levels: feather, brick, truck. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
Yes, awesome. So for anyone who hasn't heard of that, it's when the pain gets louder and louder and louder, but it's the same spot, it's like Mary will cut a paper cut and she'll ignore it on her right pointer finger, and then she'll be running to work and she'll slam that same pointer finger in the door. And we think it's just a coincidence, but our body is actually storing things that are talking to us. And then when the Mack truck comes, it's like, oh crap, she's cooking dinner, cutting the onions, and there's her finger sliced off. And it gets louder and louder. So I always want to inspire people to listen right away. I had an eating disorder. I'd always go up and down with my diet. I tried on bulimia. I was like, oh, that's gross. I couldn't do that. So it's like I went to all different resources to try and find, what is it that I'm looking for? Like, why aren't I not happy? I'm supposed to be. And that's when I finally just started to be more present with what I was doing. And I had a Saudi prince invite me out on a date. When I met him, and I was like, oh my gosh, all my Disney created dreams are coming true. Of course I said yes. And him and his driver like picked me up in a Rolls Royce out of my Chelsea apartment. It was my friend's living room, but it was my Chelsea apartment. And we were at dinner. And that moment when I was like, oh my God, all my Disney created dreams are coming true, I started to get the worst stomach cramps. And I'm good at coping with pain, obviously. So this was that extreme. I was like, I have to go to the bathroom and try and fix this. And I couldn't. I just kept crying. And I had to leave my prince. And it was that moment that like woke me up of like, shit, I just ruined it. And what's so cool is that my mother booked me in a doctor's appointment, because at that point I was like down to 90 pounds and just like a stick. And my mom was like, something's wrong with you. You need to get checked out. And I was anti-doctors, right? And so they went to the doctor and they did all these tests, and they said, you have this lifelong disease called celiac disease. And back then when they told me what it's a gluten allergy, no one knew what gluten was, because this was like over 13 years ago. And so it totally shook my world up, because when I was living in New York City, I would just literally go on dates and open up the Zagat book and literally eat my way through the city. That's like all that was important to me. So then to have the doctor say, everything you ever love, you got to take that away. And this Italian Lebanese girl was like, hell no, like I want my gluten. But I did. I stopped eating it, and I started to eat lots of vegetables and fruits because they had no hidden ingredients in them. And when I went on this natural detox of food, what I realized was all these emotions that were buried down inside of me started to come. I just would cry for no reason. And I would just be so angry. And I'm like, what's happening? And I actually had to start feeling. And it was in that moment. And I truly believe when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And in that moment of starting to feel things, I was ready. I was ready for help on how to navigate all of this. And I called in my mentor, who was just this incredible man. I've told you about this story, but he was trained and would go in and help the CIA and FBI solve the challenging cases that they can solve, because he was an expert in reading the micro expressions of the body. Because when he was born, I talk about this in depth in my TEDx talk, but when he was born, he was stillborn, and he had a brain disease where his left brain started to shut down. And so his right intuitive brain was overdeveloped. And so he just would see over 60 years the same exact thoughts and emotions like lived. He would see it written on the body, basically. And so he created a map, and he helped me get into my intestines going, you know, you can heal this. And that was the first person that ever said, you can heal this. So I think having that first seed of belief was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I know that back then, you know, gluten would have been like that whole celiac thing it was very unknown. And I understand what it's like to be, you know, go, I don't want to be the high maintenance friend that goes out and go, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. Like, I don't want to be that person. But now it's so common. Like, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, I don't know what's happening with the wheat in the US, but it's like
I know.
a thing. So, so that was happening in New York. So were you able to heal it? Because I know you now live in Southern California, which is one often. What you got on the journey from New York out here to get?
Oh my God, so much. So I met my mentor, and you know, when we're hesitant at first, it's like we have a prayer and the universe gives us the answers of prayer. It's like a wide open door, but we need the courage to walk through it, right? And I was literally living paycheck to paycheck, and my mentor was like, it's going to be 10K. And I was like, no freaking way, I'm not doing it. And before I left, he's like, can I work on you for a second? And he asked me one question, and I started bawling my eyes out. And prior to that moment, I didn't have my menstrual cycle for 9 months. So I was trying everything to get it back. And it wasn't until the next morning that it just came full on. I'm like, sign me up. I'm doing whatever it takes. Credit card, let's do it. It'll all work out. And it was a life changer for me, because it's the first time I told the universe that I'm worthy of investing in. You know, it's like, it's such a powerful game changer. So then he started to help me get to the root cause of the emotional pain. And I call it the body mind map, because before he passed away, he asked me to carry on this work. So I'm sitting here like, oh my God, what do I do with all this? And I certify people in it now, thanks to your advice from many years ago. And it's turned out to be so beautiful and such a blessing, and all the people it's helping. So he helped me get to the root cause. And once I healed the main major issue that was causing disease in my body, I started to get healthy again. I started to feel happy and alive and vibrant and in love with life. And I also got to this place where I felt so connected to spirit and the universe, because I had space to really be with everything that was. And angels were literally talking to me all week going, are you from California? I'm like, no, I grew up right over the bridge in New Jersey. Like, I'm right here, I'm a local. And it was like, then someone else was like, oh my God, you would love La Jolla. And I'm like, what is La Jolla? And so I just kind of like brushed things off. And then something becomes really clear where I'm like, I'm moving to La Jolla, whatever place that is. I go on Craigslist, I get an apartment. I have enough money for 1 month's rent. I'm like, I'll figure it out, you know? And I tapped into this inner resourcefulness of actually trusting myself and actually going, I can do this. What's the worst that can happen? Right? I move into my mom's basement. That would be the worst. So I went for
bad, right?
Yeah, that would be bad. So be terrible. So I did it. I packed up my Mini Cooper and trusted the calling of spirit on my life to go to this place called La Jolla, and got a little studio. And I remember when I was paying back then, I was like, gosh, the prices have tripled. It's incredible to watch the time. And it's so cool because I started my business. I got clear. And I truly believe once we settle our past and feel all this heavy emotions, we create so much space to create whatever we would love. And so I'm in La Jolla and I'm like, okay, what would I love? So I start my own healing business and I'm like, I'd love to like really help powerful people, help them feel better and be a better impact for all the lives they're touching. And you know what? I want to travel the world in luxury and get paid really well. I just added on to the list, right? I was dreaming big. And then I had some clients in La Jolla that got referred. One was a presidential candidate. And then his whole team, they were like, can you come on our yacht and teach us yoga and help us feel good this summer? We're going to Spain, Ibiza, like all these incredible places. And I was like, let me check my calendar. Yep, I can help you guys this summer. They're like, we're going to have to fly you on our private jets. And I'm like, okay, no problem. I can deal. And it was so cool to watch how powerful we are when we create space and allow ourselves to actually declare what we would love.
Yeah. So do you find that there's a common theme with people? Like, is there like one like undercurrent reason or program or belief that we have that kind of keeps us in ill health?
Yes, I'd say there's like a top 100. There's like a lot of different variations, but the top 5 ones would be I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I don't belong. Another common one is I hurt people, which is really wild because then it keeps them locked up because they're afraid to do anything because they're afraid they hurt people because they have a belief that they hurt people. And it goes all the way back to birth. In the experience, I've been doing this for over a decade, helping people one-on-one and in groups and hosting retreats. And it's like the same thing is it goes all the way back to not only our childhood, but being in the womb and the birthing experience. And it's so wild. I'm sure you know, and you've experienced this stuff too. It's like, whoa, like our cells actually remember every experience we've ever had. And a lot of it's hanging out subconsciously. But this is a big one, once we break through a belief that it's safe to see, because I think a lot of us spend our whole life, most of my clients, I'd say 90%, that's the first thing we have to work through is it's safe to see. Okay, now we can look at everything you've been avoiding looking at, right? This is a safe space. And it's so powerful if we just have the courage to start looking.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that, the work that you've been doing has been like a massive breakthroughs for a lot of people. And I know that your personal story, of coming out here to SoCal and doing the work that you do and meeting the love of your life, walking randomly on the beach in La Jolla.
Yes.
It's just, it's such an inspiring story. And of course, he's Australian, so, he's got to be a little bit all right, So if someone's watching the show right now, is there one piece of advice or something that you can tell them that's going to help them to have a shift in the way that they think that's going to really positively impact their health?
Yes, definitely. So it's going to impact all areas of your life.
Yeah.
But start knowing that you are the co-creator of your life. Start knowing that you're responsible. And I know this goes so deep, especially people who've been raped or something sexually abused, some kind of physical abuse. There's a lot of resistance in going, I did not create that. And it's such a heavy topic. And I talk about it. I talk about all sorts of things inside Facebook Lives. But it's like, if we can just try it on, if you can just try it on, whoever's watching, try it on, go, you know what if I did create that? What gifts did I get from that? What did I learn from that? Because when we have that approach, then we can also be like, yeah, I created that. But so many people want to just create that one part and be victim in a different part. And I just know when my clients step into knowing that they're a powerful creator and co-creator with the universe, it changes everything. Everything. So
that's awesome.
Own it.
So, darling, thank you for joining me today. Now, if people want to reach out to you or connect with you, where can we send them to do that?
Yes, so soulmedicine.com, SOUL, soul medicine, healing for the soul. And we actually have so many free gifts on there, but one of my favorite ones is a 15-minute breakthrough session that's complimentary. So you'll get on the call with one of my top soul medicine coaches and just really shine light. We're all trained to go laser fast into the truth. So the people we attract are really courageous and they've done so much work in their life, but they just feel like there's that one thing that's still lingering. And it's so cool because we just go deep fast. So if you're up for it, you can go there.
Exactly. And that's the thing, like everyone can benefit from a 15-minute session with you or one of your coaches, because, we are all at a certain level, and especially if we're, people that are successful, that we're striving, that we're always stepping outside our comfort zone. It always helps to make sure that our energy, our centers are clear, that our health is clear, so that we can be the person that needs to step up into this next level, to be the teacher or the messenger or the person of service that we want to be. So darling, thank you again for joining me. It's also always great chatting to you.
I love you. Thank you.
Fantastic. So guys, I encourage you, please share this video. Let's get the word out. You can do that by clicking the Facebook and the Twitter share buttons on this page. You can also click either the link below or the banner to the side to go straight through to Nikki's website. And after all of that's done, and make sure that you click the link below that so that you can download the ebook version of my best-selling book, Never in Your Wildest Dreams. So until next time, remember to live large, choose courageously, and love without limits. We'll see you soon.